Hi everyone, you're welcome to our lesson 55. My name is Professor Robert, and today we will be rationalizing denominators of two expressions and then simplifying the expression further. So in this case, we have example number one, which is root of 1/2 plus root of 1/8. So we need to rationalize the denominators and then simplify that expression. Now, from this expression, you can clearly see that we can rewrite them as square root of 1 divided by the square root of 2. And then that's supposed to be added to the square root of 1 divided by square root of 8. And this expression can then become 1, of course, square root of 1 is 1, divided by root 2 plus 1 divided by, we can break this down so that we have a root 2 sign in, because 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So we can have 2 times 2, the square root of which is 2, and then we remain with the third 2. So we can then add these two expressions together using our normal fraction addition methods. So in this case, we take the lowest common multiplier, which will be 2 root 2. So 2 root 2 divided by root 2 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 2 root 2 divided by 2 root 2 is 1 times 1 is 1. So the final answer here would be 3 over 2 root 2. Okay. Now, since we have decided to rationalize the denominators, it means we must multiply um, the denominator root sign by a function that will get rid of the root sign. And in this case, it's clearly root 2, because when you multiply root 2 uh, by root 2, you will get 2. But what you do to one part of a fraction, you must do the other. So even at the top, we must multiply by root 2. And then this expression becomes 3 root 2, 3 times root 2. So it's 3 root 2 over 2 times root 2 times root 2, which is 4. 2 times 2, which will give us 4. And that becomes our final answer of having rationalized the denominator and simplifying the expression. So the denominator doesn't have any root signs. Okay. Right, let's try a second example, which is a little bit more complex, but I hope we can follow. Let's suppose you are given cube root of x over 2, and they say minus cube root of x over 16. Now, we can again break this down, rearrange this down in the normal fractional format. So this will be cube root of x divided by cube root of 2 minus cube root of x divided by cube root of 16. Now, we can then try to rearrange again our figures. This is as simple as it gets. So we have cube root of x divided by cube root of 2 minus uh, cube root of x divided by cube root of 16. Now we have to look at what we have here because eventually we want to get rid of this root sign. So we have root 2. So when we look at 16, 16 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So we can actually bring out a 2 from the cube root sign. We can bring out a 2 from the cube root sign, and we remain with a 2 there. So again, we have now to use the usual method of solving fractions. So this then becomes, we need to look for the lowest common multiple here, and we have it as 2 cube root of 2, which is common everywhere, and say, okay, 2 cube root of 2 divided by cube root of 2 will be 2, and then 2 times cube root of x will become 2 cube root of x minus, again, 2 cube root of 2 divided by 2 cube root of 2 is 1, and 1 times cube root of x will give us just cube root of x. And then finally, we get this as 2 cube root x minus cube root x will leave us with only 1 cube root of x. And that will be divisible by 2 into 3 cube root um, of x. Be 2 and cube multiplied by cube root of x. All right. Okay. So now from there, we will have to try and kind of get rid of this cube root of, so this is cube root of 2, sorry. So we have to get rid of this cube root here. And we can only get rid of that cube root 2 by multiplying the denominator by cube root of 2 and another cube root of 2. So that when you multiply these three, we get a 2. And what you do to one part of a fraction, you must do to the other. So we also have to multiply the top by cube root of 2 and then cube root of 2. All right? So now in this case, we'll finally have this expression showing us cube root of x divided by 2 multiplied by 2, which will be 4. Sorry, divided by 2 multiplied by cube root of 2 times cube root of 2 times cube root of 2, which is 2. 2 times 2 will give us 4. Now at the top, we have cube root of 3 multiplied by cube root of 2 multiplied by cube root of 2. This is the same as saying multiply this by cube root of 4. And that becomes our final answer. But you could even simplify this further by saying x times 4 is 4x. So cube root of it divided by 4. And that gives us our final answer. All right. So if you've liked what you see here, um, Don't forget to like, share with anyone you think needs it, and please subscribe for more algebra made simple lessons. See you in the next lesson, and bye for now.